Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday late afternoon, early evening, July 2nd, 2023. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. And another week has flown by, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube, where we will look at climate-related items, methane, sea ice, and earthquakes, and I don't know, whatever else pops up here. So we're starting off. First of all, Reno hit 101 today, 101 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's our highest temperature for the year so far. And so there we are. I mean, we're in summer now. We're definitely in summer. So we're going to start off here with our Climate Reanalyzer, looking at maximum temperatures around the world today. We can see greens all the way across the Arctic. I mean, that's all above freezing. And then the dark green, see over here, that's about 5 degrees C. Greenland, it has had high melt this week. High melt. In fact, one day they were at 50% melt. Well, I need to pull that up and show that to you. I'll get that ready. And so anyway, yeah, summer's here. And so the whites here in North America, see Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, and through the south, and then in the southwest here we've got Arizona, California, see all these whites coming up, and then Nevada, whites down in Mexico, Belize, Central America, and the white is 104 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, or 40 degrees C or higher. And Northern Africa is covered up, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Middle East, look, it's going up into Kazakhstan, and then Northern India, Pakistan, and Eastern China. See? Normally we don't see whites up here. It's northeastern China. Oh, and let's see. Are we seeing whites in Europe? No, not yet. We've got whites, Spain and France. So I know someone left a comment about it being hot in southern France or just south of France. But anyway, it's just the beginning. It's going to be a bad summer. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly. And see the browns over this northern part of Greenland, and then blues at the bottom, and then browns across Russia from about the Laptev Sea over through Siberia. Look at Canada, and the wildfires are still burning out of control up in Canada. The smoke is still socked in over northeastern U.S. and there was a big wave that made its way across the Atlantic Ocean this week. And so see, we got browns, dark browns all around the Hudson Bay, and then here are the browns on the west side of the U.S. here now. And see, Texas is in the blue, but why did it have whites? So, whites for temperatures, I don't understand. And here's this, see the hot spot over the North Pacific. This is also over the area where the sea surface temperature is warming up. Here's the flat view. Now I wanted to show the Antarctic. And so here's the Western Peninsula, South America, and look at this heat dome all along this western, southwestern coastline and in the Ross Sea. And this is up into the pinks, which is like 24°C higher than normal. And the ice is melting down here. I'll show you on NASA World View. The nighttime view is really good today, and you can see the ice melting down here. And then this Western Peninsula has been in this brown and reddish brown zone kind of all week, and we've got an ozone hole opened up over the southwest area of the Antarctic, danger zone ozone hole too. So it's dark down here, but you know, weather still happens, and so there's that. Just because it's dark doesn't mean that nothing's going on down there. Here's precipitation and clouds today, and we can see rain over the Arctic Basin today, and there's a hole that's opened up in the sea ice here as a result of the rain. And we've got rain coming up to the coastline of Canada. And Canada had a bunch of wet snow and rain along the coastlines, but wet snow on the interior, which set it up for melting this week. And it's still in pretty good melt mode. We've also got rain, see, here in the Barents Sea, and so it's, you know, as the temperatures, as things heat up, and the climate changes, especially in the Arctic region, we'll see more and more rain rather than snow in the Arctic. Now also, now this is the Pacific view, so right down here, this is the Ross Sea here, and we've got freezing rain out here next to the ice. So, you know, warmer temperatures coming in down there. Here's what used to be the jet stream, and look at all these layers, levels, arms of the jet stream, the pieces now. and it's just getting worse day by day. Here's the Pacific view. Look at it here just above the equator, and then it zips up. And look at this chaos in the southern hemisphere. Nothing normal about that. And I'm going to show a close-up of this when we go to sea ice, but this is on Climate Reanalyzer today, and you can see the holes that have opened up in the ice here in the Beaufort Sea and in this East Siberian Sea. And a lot of melting in this North Baffin Bay and here along the Alaska and Canada coastlines. But we'll look at that in more detail and see the Hudson Bay has cleared out this week. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly. This is for yesterday, and we're setting more records. Sam Carana has been tracking that. If you go to his website, arctic-news.blogspot.com, he's tracking the sea surface temperatures, and we're setting records all the time here now. And so here we're up in the red zone here in the Kara Sea next to Novaya Zemlya, moving into pink. So the bright red is 5°C higher than normal. The light pink is 6°C higher than normal. And if anyone from Climate Reanalyzer watches my shows, you really need to change this chart over here. You need to update this so that you can get a wider range of anomalies, because we're going higher than that. But this is what we've got here, and brown's all the way up. We've got some colder water here next to this ice melt on this east side of the ice and east side of Greenland, but I think it's just because of the ice melting. Here in the North Sea it's turning red, and we've got browns in this Arctic region wherever it's already melted. See, we've got browns coming in. Hudson Bay, we've got some reds already there. Great Lakes are turning brown. Gulf of Mexico is almost solid brown there. Here's the flat view with the Atlantic here, and we've got browns all the way down. Mediterranean is, the browns are moving further east as this is heating up. The Black Sea is almost all in the browns. Same with the Caspian Sea. Persian Gulf is changing. The Red Sea is moving into the browns as well. We've got reds here between Japan and the mainland. The Sea of Okhotsk is in the browns. Here's the Pacific view. So here in the North Pacific, this is where we saw the air that was warmer than normal too. So our evil eye is forming here as it's heating up, moving into the red zone. And here red off the coast of South America, then browns all the way across. We've got blues right now off the coast of U.S. and Mexico, but I'm thinking that's going to change as El Nino comes in. See, we've got browns now along Canada coastline. So there's that. Now we'll move to methane. We're looking at methane for yesterday, July 1st. Met-B in the morning, 1000 millibar. And I'm still tracking these levels just to see what they're showing. Now, I showed in my show last week how the Met-B started showing methane in the northern hemisphere again. It was almost non-existent in the northern hemisphere for about, I don't know, a couple of weeks, but now it's back. There's still a lot of gray area over land, which I don't think, I don't know why that is. I'm thinking, I'd like to see more filled in, but this is what we've got. So the mean was 1846 here, and it's showing the high reading. This is at surface level, remember, here in central Russia and over the Frame Strait and just north of Greenland, which is contradictory to what we'll look at on CAMS. But this is a range between 2000 and here 2065 parts per billion. So yeah, I guess that could be right. But so CAMS goes higher, it goes up to 10,000 parts per billion. So what we see is highest here. It only goes up to what they've registered, and CAMS goes up to 10,000, and it starts at the highest reading is 2160 up to 10,000. So anyway, they're registering higher in a higher range. Here it is in the afternoon. The mean was 1845. Here's Met-C in the morning. The mean was 1843. Same areas with the highest readings. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1844. And we're showing some pink here on this. This is the Siberian coastline. Moving to the 487 millibar level, Met-B in the morning, it's all pink. How can it all be pink? It can't be. It can't all be in the pink zone between 2000 and 2388. They've got a little bit of reds in the middle, but anyway, they're showing the mean at 1924. And then in the afternoon, the mean was 1924 and almost all pink. And on the Met-C, see this differentiates it better. We've got pinks where it's mainly over the northern hemisphere. We've got pinks also down here. This is next, kind of in the area of the Brunt Ice Shelf and the Weddell Sea. So the Met-Op-C in the morning, the mean was 1887, the high reading was 2377. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1889, the high reading was 2225. So, see heavy pinks here again over the Weddell Sea. So the chart I'm focusing on is this Met-Op-C satellite for the 487 millibar level. And so the first averaged out to be 1880.0, which was where we were last week, so no change. So you can see the dots just level there. But I'll show you what happened this week. So here we ended in our show last week at 1888.0. The 25th it went down 1.0, 26th down 0.5, 27th no change, 28th up 2.0, 29th down 1.0, 30th no change, and on the 1st it went up 0.5. So it averages out. It just did stair-stepping this week, averages out to the same reading as last week. And if we look at the full readings, it shows that it went up 1.5 this week if we include the Met-Op-B satellite. Let's see, right there. And then on the 1000 millibar, it shows that it went up 0.5 this week. But remember, so where it was steeply going down, this is when the Met-Op-B data was was pretty much non-existent for the northern hemisphere. So there's that. Now we'll go to the CAMS methane data. This is Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services out of the EU methane forecast. Oh, hold on. I don't have this set up. I thought I had it set up. Started recording before I had it all ready. Well, you'll get to see what I go through with loading things up. So we'll load up this Arctic level. It just takes a few seconds. Okay, so our base time and valid time are both for Saturday, July 1st. And Arctic area and surface levels where we're starting. So the data is for Saturday, and the forecast period is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I mean, it looks to me like things are going to be going up this week. And we can see CAMS NOAA is back on the map, billowing methane around there. Also, we've got a hot spot in the North Kara Sea again. We were also seeing some here at Franz Josef Land this week. Normally, we don't see it just kind of isolated there at Franz Josef Land, but we did see some this week. Here's our hot spot off the coast of Newfoundland. That's percolating there. And this is filled up in the Scandinavian area, moving into Russia. And see, we're seeing higher readings pop up across the interior of Russia as the days progress in our forecast period. I'm thinking that's from fires and permafrost thawing out and just general heating. Oh, and just to clarify, while we're at surface level, so what we saw on NOAA data, like this green yellow color, that's 2000 to 2020 parts per billion. So that's like the highest range, kind of the highest range that they're showing on surface level. And see, CAMS goes all the way up to 10,000. So that's the difference. So that's a big difference. Okay, Alaska, still coming up at Koktovik, and in the interior where it's melting inside there. Canada, this is from the west across. Look at this around the Hudson Bay. That's where we saw the warmer temperatures too. And then the US, look at that. I don't know what to say. Just blobs. This eastern seaboard. See, it's really heating up. Now, this is densely populated and humid as well, so you get both of those and you're going to have high methane. See the waves move out. So it's just heating up all around, big blobs all the way across. And higher background readings too. California is starting to fill up now that it's summertime. Everything's heating up there. Alright, now we'll go to the North Pole view. So I got an earlier start tonight. I mean, it's only, well, it's a little before 7 p.m. So I got started earlier. So I'm pleased with that. Just have to make an effort to do that and not get caught up in a bunch of projects beforehand, because then I get too tired. So this is videos are my projects for Sundays, reporting on Sundays. So here's the North Pole view. You can see the whole northern hemisphere. You can see it's heating up down through Mexico and Central America, South America. See, that's, of course, that's right around the equator there. Over on this side, we've got the UK coming back to life, Germany. Now France, we're not seeing much. Now southeastern France, see, we've got high methane there, but generally there's not that much higher in France or Spain or Portugal. It's coming though. Just, just hang on, you'll get it. Here's the Persian Gulf. Here's India. And see, it's filling up in the interior further south. Here's China, Korea. See, it's spilling over the coastline here at Korea. And here's Japan. These green waves moving out. We're under the dome. Oh, I meant to get something else ready too. I can do that. I try and think of everything, but it's hard when I'm prepping. I want to go to my website and like if we go to like the Subscribe Star archives, this is where I've got everything archived, and you can see from year to year what things look like. So let's go like July 2022. And I want to see what methane looked like. Well, temporary. So now we'll look at CAMS. I have Thursday. Too far. I'll get it here. Now see, this is what y'all can do. You can go and see what things look like before. See, oh, it looks different, doesn't it? This was the old, before they changed the website. Because, yeah, it looks, see how it's set up different? And the drop downs, so global. Okay, so this is what I was wanting to see. Yeah, it was the 1840 that blew is 1840, and then 1860 coming in. Yeah, so that's similar. But see, we've got higher methane across Canada right now, and filling up in the US too. So yeah, I was wanting to take a peek at that, but you know, y'all can do that and see. Like Greenland, here was the ice melt at Greenland last year, July 1st, but we had a spike this year. Alright, so let's go back. Alright, so here we are on the global view for this year. Yeah, so this year, the interior of the U.S. is higher than last year. This time last year, also we have more higher readings across Canada. And here we're seeing this lighter aqua. That's the 1860 parts per billion streaming further south. Here's Australia. See, it's coming alive on this east coast. Lots of high readings there. South Africa, right here. I think that's an area of open pit mining. I think I did some research, and they've been doing open pit mining there for literally centuries. Okay, and now 500 HPA. Yeah, so we're seeing lighter readings across the Arctic, and then see the heaviest is a little moving further south, kind of dispersing but moving further south. And see, we're getting yellows further south and reds further south as well. And then total column. So here we've got heaviest at China, India, also here in Iran, Persian Gulf, and moving into Saudi Arabia, also the Philippines, and then all these reds. So there's that. And I'll just show a couple more things from Climate Reanalyzer. This is sulfur dioxide today, and our highest reading is here down by Mexico with the volcanoes going off, or with Popocatépetl and probably others, but that's the highest reading. And I've noticed that the overall background reading has gone down over the Arctic, especially in northern hemisphere. Remember when we had all that sulfur dioxide from Hawaii from Kilauea, and it had really covered this whole northern hemisphere in golden, golden colors, and up into the Arctic. So it was a much higher background reading, but that's gone way down, and now we're back down into blues. So I think that's a good thing. Here it is at 500 HPA, and here's the highest down by Mexico, and see it's all splotchy. That's volcano signature when you see it splotchy like that. Okay, so here's the ozone hole over the Antarctic, and this is today, and this is where you see it inside this thick black line. This denotes low enough to be in the danger zone, and this purplish color is 200 to 220 Dobson units, and this is considered to be in the danger zone, and that's also right over where we saw the red, the 2-meter temperature anomaly over the Antarctic. And see, it's edging over this Ross Sea as well, and then aquas all the way around up into the Weddell Sea as well. So yeah, it's winter time down there, and so now we're gonna have the ozone hole opening back up down there. It's not gone. They say they fixed it, but no, it's not gone. It's still here. Here's the Arctic ozone, and see the green. This is a lot thinner. The next color down from this green is aqua, and then the bluish purple. So we've got the green here over Russia, where we're seeing high methane. And a couple of things will cause ozone holes. High methane readings, and also smoke, like from wildfires. Concentrated smoke will cause, and also nuclear reactors. They react with the Earth's ability to create ozone. So it inhibits the Earth's ability to keep its ozone layer. So here's the global view. Here's this big break in the Pacific coming up, see? And we've got some areas in the aqua zone now. If we zoom in, you can see. We kind of have to zoom in to see the colors. Here in the Pacific, off the coast of South America, this is Chile, Argentina, and Peru. So we've got aquas here. So that's thinning down. Then the greens, of course, are thin. And we've got aquas over the forming. It's kind of off the map here, but it's in the West Pacific too. So there's that. And the smoke for today, this is from CAMS. This is the North Pole view. Oh, see, that's Russia. There's wildfires in western Siberia. But here's the Canadian smoke, the smoke from the Canadian fires, and see, it's heaviest up here in Canada, and here's the Hudson Bay, but see, it's still pretty heavy, socked down through the U.S. It's lighter though. It looks like it's lifting with it being gray rather than the red that was down here. So there's that. Oh, I've got to rotate my earthquakes back. And I took a couple of earthquake pictures for today. 220 today in the last 24 hours. And we had a 6.9 down here in Tonga. 6.9 here. This came in today at 3:27 a.m. Pacific time, and it was 225 kilometers deep. And then off the coast of Malibu, California, was a 3.8, and that came in today at 2:29 this morning. So what time was the Tonga one? 3:27. So yeah, plate movement. We can see plate movement. Oh, I missed showing that. Okay, back on Climate Reanalyzer. 2-meter temperature anomaly. I got sidetracked. I don't know if I did the overview. I don't think I did. Worldwide, we're up 0.56 C, higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.85 C. The Arctic is up 0.41 C. The Antarctic is down 0.75 C. This is warming up. It had been lower than that. The southern hemisphere is up 0.27 C, and the tropics are up 0.64 C, higher than normal. So there's that. So I'm going to take a break and then come back with the sea ice part of our show. So don't go away. The best is yet to come. Okay, I'm back, and now we'll move into the sea ice portion of the show. And we're starting with Climate Reanalyzer, snow cover, sea ice and snow cover for today. And we'll zoom in and see, this Hudson Bay is all but gone. Just a little bit of wispy ice in the center. This, look at the Baffin Bay. These tributaries are melting out. Sorry about my voice, but anyway. And look how this east of Greenland, this is just collapsing here. And then here's the Beaufort Sea, and look at this big long line. So that's opening up, and this is the East Siberian Sea all along here, and here's the Laptev Sea, and so we've got big holes opening up here. And see the grayish area, it's melting, but this is where it's raining today, and you'll see on NASA Worldview that it's really thin down there. So let's see what's happened this week. I'll take you through our slideshow. Here we were last Sunday, the 25th, and you can see the Beaufort Sea was more intact at that point. So here we go. So here's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, big change there. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, here we go, big change. Saturday, and see the change here. Chukchi Sea and Beaufort Sea on Saturday, and then Sunday. And what happens is you can have a hole open up here, and then it can close up like the next day. And we've seen that happen before, and different factors can cause that to happen. The ice drift is the big thing, and that, you know, if it's moving in a certain direction, you know, it can pull it apart where it's weak or where a big crack is opened up. Also, if it's raining, it'll melt it, and then the ice drift can make it close back up. So that's why you'll see holes on certain days and then not the next day. And now that I'm a little bit put out with this U.S. Navy website, they've got recent data for the Beaufort Sea, but not for the Arctic or Antarctic sea ice thickness. Their latest data for those is June 24th, which was Saturday before yesterday. Week ago. So we saw that already in my show last Sunday. So I don't know if they're taking a vacation. It's kind of a bad time of year to be doing that, considering we're in high melt here in the Arctic, and you know, we're interested in seeing what's going on. But here, this is from yesterday, the 1st. This is Beaufort Sea ice thickness, and see all this white. This is open water around the Alaska and Canada coastlines, and out here in the Bering Strait and Chukchi Sea. Here's a little bit of aqua coming around, but see how this is melted down into the dark blue zone, which is about 1.25 meters thick, and then dark aqua here, which is about 1.5 meters thick, and then the bright aqua is about 2 to 2 meters thick. So this Beaufort Sea is, and this whole basin, Arctic basin area, is really coming apart. And then this the forecast here goes out to Thursday. The 6th. 4th of July is coming up on Tuesday, and so if y'all are going to be celebrating, I hope it's safe and not too hot for you. So look at how this is collapsing. Here, I'll stop it at the end. Okay, here we are on the 6th. This is what the forecast is showing. moving down into the purple zone, 1 meter thick here, and across the basin. And here's a definite hole opening up here. This is in the Chukchi Sea, and so it's in high melt. What can I say? And this is from National Snow and Ice Data Center for yesterday. This is Arctic sea ice concentration. And anywhere you see any blue shade, it's melting. And so the darker the blue, the more it's melting, the more it's coming apart, and can be open water between the pieces of ice, or it can be slushy, or you just don't know. But this, you can see this Beaufort Sea is in high melt and coming all the way across. And also up here, this East Siberian Sea and this Laptev Sea, it looks like is melting out. I'm thinking this could melt out this week. See, that's in the dark blue. The Kara Sea and around Severnaya Zemlya, see, that's melting. And then this east side next to Greenland, that's in high melt, and also melting north of Greenland and Canada. And the brown is the median. So, and see this Hudson Bay, it's gone. Just a little fringe of ice here and there. But virtually the Hudson Bay is melted out now. Here's the extent chart for the melting. This blue line is this year, and the dotted line is 2012, and we can see we've deviated from kind of going parallel with the median, and it's on a steeper slope downward now, and we'll probably meet up with 2012. I'm thinking this week sometime. Here's the Antarctic, and you can see it's well under the median there. And here's the refreeze. It's really struggling, and see, last year it was more on an upward curve, but it was still a record low, and then this year we're kind of slipping down on a lower curve. I mean, a lower trend. So, still at record low there. Here's Greenland. This is, now the picture shows for the 30th. And, but before I show you that, I want to show, here's where it was at 50% melt this week. And there was rain. There's been rain along this Canadian coastline, and then snow in different areas, but a lot of wet snow over across this northern part of Greenland. And on the 27th is when it's showing this 50% melt. This is awful. Look at how far south it's melting here. And here's a little dot on the interior. And I mean, all the coastlines melting. And then here was the cumulative melt days for the 27th, and it's seeing less and less white. So if you see blue or green or any of these colors, it means it had at least one melt day this year. And some of these are moving on up. Here's the chart, and this is for the 27th, and see, it had been going up a couple of days before that. We were at like 35 and 37% melt, and then on the 27th it just spiked up. This is 50%. Now this blue dotted line is the median, and then these are ranges, and so this is above all of the ranges. So I'm thinking, we probably set a record here. And it's just a nudge above the line. Seriously, it's a nudge above the 50% melt there. I mean, that's unreal. I mean, it's really catastrophic to see it melting like that at Greenland. And it usually peaks out in like around here, mid-July, and then it goes down. But I don't know. So here we are for the 30th, and see, the interior is melting even more here. And remember, I've been saying that once it starts melting, it's easier for it to melt. Well, I think that's what we've got going on here in the interior. And this northern part is still in high melt too. Let's see, coming way in, and you'll see it. It's showing up as a blue color on NASA Worldview. Here are the cumulative melt days up to the 30th for this year, and see, it's made a little bridge here, and so we got a little bit of white down here and then white up here, but it's less white all the time, meaning we've had at least one melt day. And see, it's moving into the greens, the aqua, the dark aqua is like 20 melt days. And then like the greenish tinge, that's 30 to 40 melt days for the year so far. Then we're seeing some of those over here on this edge. Here's the chart. Now the date down here says for July 1st. So let's see, July 1st, but the pictures were from the 30th, so it's showing, well, it's showing they just haven't put the pictures up yet. I think it was the 30th, yeah, the 30th. So that was Friday, and so it's showing that it went down. So on the 30th, it had nudged up above 30, was about 31% melt. And then for the first, which we don't have pictures of, it's showing dropping just below 30, so about 29% melt. So it's still way above the median. Look at this. I mean, that's really catastrophic. What can I say? So that's all of those. And now, moving on to NASA Worldview, and starting here in the Arctic. And I wanted to start with this sea ice concentration layer, and see this yellow. This is where it's raining today and where it's melting out, and there's a big cloud over it, of course, because the rain. So we're not really able to see the ice melting down, but just suffice to say, it won't take much rain to melt that out. And so when you see like yellows, greens, holes are showing up. And then, let's see, like here along the coastlines, and then of course the reds are about well, it's a range like 80 to about 84%. Then you got the pinks, so it's melting all the way across. There's just a little bit where it's in the white, where it's fully concentrated, meaning there's meaning it's solid through there. So this is, look, we've got yellows in these tributaries, greens. So let's go in. We'll start down here. Here in this Lincoln Sea. I don't know what's going on here. I thought it was going to be melting out, but I don't know. It's really broken up. Oh, I wanted to show, okay, see where it's running off of Greenland Sea, where it was frozen. You can see that's melting. And so here on the north side, where you see kind of the blue aqua colors, that's where we've got the melt going on the ice. And these darker areas, these are melt ponds, and this is where the ice is melted and there's water sitting on top of the ice. And some of these are quite large. They're like lakes, and you have to have like a jet ski or something like that to get across it. Like here, see, all of these are melt ponds. So this is in high melt. And see, even down here, here's some melt ponds where it's running out too. And up here, see, over here, and just bare rock. I mean, just bare rock. And here's the east side, and see, this ice is collapsing fast. See, and then north of Greenland, see, look how this is going down. Lots of open water already. And then if we go up, see, it's coming apart. You can see the ice pieces, the big pieces, and then the thinner area, which is where the sea ice had frozen in between. And so that thinner area will melt first. That's what you're seeing with the open water areas. See? And then you got various sizes of sea ice pieces there. But yeah, this is not good. And let's see. Here's the North Pole, and just east of the North Pole, let's see, it's coming apart here. You can see open water, and you can make it out here. See here, that's open water, but you can see the pieces, the solid white. And then, you know, we're looking through clouds or something, but you can see where it's the darker. That's the leads opening up. And then coming down. See, this is all melting. It's very early in the season to see it like this. Okay, coming on down. Here's the nearest strait, and the sea ice is flowing down through here, and see these inlets, those are melting. So this is in high melt and movement down. Here's a cloud. Look at this. Here's the Baffin Bay. This is all open, this north part. See, and when you see this ice, that's just deteriorating so fast. See, and so this west side of Greenland is open. See here. Can also, like, look at the ice pouring down. See, this is coming from the ice sheet. See, and see, it's frozen here, but it's melting and pouring out. And the ice is, I mean, it's moving. It just looks solid, but it's not. there's the southern edge. Where am I going? Let's go this way and see. These tributaries, these are opening up, and see the blue, that's in high melt. See. So this is giving way soon. Okay, here's Ellesmere Island right here. And see this area here that's melting. These inlets. And then coming around, let's see, look at this. This is part of some of that thicker ice, and the thickest is right up along the edge of the coast, that 5 meter thick, and then see it goes down. So I don't know where the 3 meter thick ice is. It's just like a band. And then look at these leads. And so the aqua ice, which is 2 to 2.5 meters thick, is up here, like just above Canada and going up and across to Greenland. And so it's breaking up, is what I'm trying to say, even the thicker ice. Alright, this is a cloud. Here's the Amundsen Gulf. Look, that's open. Look at this. Look at how that melted out this week. See, here it is yesterday. Look at that. This Northwest Passage is going to open all the way, I think. So there's Beaufort Sea. See there? Here it is today. See, coming apart. See, here it is coming apart. See, that dark, that's open water. And so here's Alaska, and here's open water by the coast, and moving on around. Well, that's Canada. Here's Alaska, I think. Here's Barrow. Let's see. Let's look at yesterday. Yeah, it's been kind of cloudy up here. Here's the ice edge. Here's the Chukchi Sea. See, that's melting in very far. And here to Chukchi Sea. And here's the Bering Strait. That's completely open. This Alaska coastline is open. Russia coastline there is open. Here's the ice edge. So it's starting to really move in. Let's see if we can see anything. So here it was on Thursday. Let's see. Coming apart. I wanted to show you where it's raining. Let's see. Let's get our layer here. Okay, right there. So the thinnest is right there under the yellow. And see, that's where the rainstorm is. See, going all the way across. Okay, let's keep going. So, yeah, see, big cracks opening up. And it's thin. I mean, this is not good ice. It's very thin. Then here. And let me see. So this line is the 80-degree north latitude line. And yeah, it's all broken up here. Look at this. That's not good. Look at this all the way across. There's 80. Yeah, see. Okay, let's go back. Getting off track here. So, up here by Russia, I want to see what we can see. So here's yesterday. So there's open water there. And see, this ice is just deteriorating very fast. So lots of open water in here. This is this East Siberian Sea. Or East Siberian Arctic Ocean. Here's New Siberian Islands. There's a big hole down here. Here we can see it today. See? Look at that. And it's really melted out here too. Look at this. Here we are up to the coastline. So this is in high melt. We can see. Here's the Laptev Sea. Oh wow, look at this view. This is yesterday. See the whole thing. See? So there's a lot of open water already here. And then here's the Laptev Sea. Look at all of this open. Yeah, and this is the Lena Delta here, with all those rivers and things coming out there. Wow, quite a change from last week, isn't it? Here's the ice. Here's Taimyr Peninsula. Okay, here's Severnaya Zemlya. Let's look at today. Well, let's look at yesterday. It's about the same. More clouds today, but so here's Komsomolets on this bottom. And so it's all around here. We saw methane coming back to life. See, that's open. And these white things, these are ice caps on these islands. And they are diminishing. Tremendously diminishing. See, getting smaller all the time. Here's the Vavilov ice cap, and this is the flow of the ice, and you can see it coming into the ocean here. And I'm thinking this is ice from that's already flowed out, and that's why there's still ice here. But we can see it's breaking up. This will probably be gone by next Sunday. And this is just racing off of this ice cap into the ocean. And you can see the flow here. Here's the North Kara Sea. There's still some ice here, but it's going away. And then here's the Kara Sea. Here's Novaya Zemlya. It's clear. See, here's some wispy ice in the middle of the Kara Sea there, and so this is a cloud. But remember, we saw on Climate Reanalyzer on sea surface temperature anomaly, it was at red here, in the red zone, moving into pink here next to Novaya Zemlya. Look, open, 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 and here's the ice edge here, and very wispy, you can see. And here's Franz Josef Land. Let's see these islands. The ice is melting around those really fast now. And then here's Svalbard. This is high melt. Look, the snow is melting on land. And right in here, Longyearbyen, That's where the seed vault is. I think there are more. They built more around the globe, realizing that, you know, if something happened, if we only had one, something happened to it, you know, that wouldn't be good. But this is open. Open around there. And melting on this west side. And here it's breaking up. So you get the idea. There's a lot of open water here, just above Greenland. Here's a better view yesterday. Let's see. Today. So there's the Arctic ice. Oh, and Hudson Bay is got clouds and smoke over it. See? So this smoke has affected the Arctic region as well. Okay, now here's the Antarctic, and I'm going to turn on the nighttime layer, and look, it all lights up. It's like magic. This is an extremely good view today with this layer. So here's the Western Peninsula, and right down here, this is the Brunt Ice Shelf. It runs all along here, and look, there's open water right next to the ice shelf. Why is it not refreezing up to there? I just don't know. Anyway, this is an area where methane's coming up all the time. And then down here, this is disturbing. Here's the Pine Island Glacier. The sea ice, it's not refrozen. See the dark, that's open water. And it's just got a little refreeze going on in here, but that's not good. A lot of open water, and then in addition, now this, we're looking through clouds, but you can see here's the Thwaites Glacier, and this had refrozen into this long ice tongue, but it's cracking up and melting. Well, you can't see it there. Here it was on the 30th. See, it was even solid on the 30th there, but look at the first. Look at this. This is not good. Look how it all is just cracking up and opening up. And this is open water down here. Now let's look at today. And through the cloud, you can see that the crack is bigger. You can make that out through the cloud. Here's yesterday. Here's today. So that's not good. And down here, about to get lost. So our ozone hole is right over this kind of southern west edge and kind of next to this Ross Sea and Ross Ice Shelf. Now I wanted to show something. Here's the Ross Sea and this is the Ross Ice Shelf, and this had been frozen further up, and it looks to me like it's melting. So Larry, here's your winter melt season. Here's the 28th. See, it was frozen almost up to the ice sheet. Now watch. Even on the 30th. But look at this. On the 2nd, by the 2nd, did it just pull away? I don't think so. I think it melted out. I mean, it could have pulled away a little bit, but that's a huge open area that we didn't have before. So that's got me upset. There's Ross Island, and down here, this is another area of warmer ocean water, water temperatures, and I want to show you a neat layer over here. Ice surface temperature. Go ahead, it's not going to work now that I'm wanting to show it off. Oh, here it is. Maybe we can't see it in nighttime layer. Ice surface temperature. Let's turn off nighttime. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So this shows us the temperature of the water here, and see the greens. If it's in that green, it's not going to be freezing. Well, it's showing about 263 Kelvin. Now, sea ice fresh water freezes at 272 Kelvin, I think, and so salt water freezes at a lower level. No, higher anyway. So this is open here because this water is just too warm to freeze. Here's 268 Kelvin, and so something's going on down here that is just so warm. Let's see. And here's the Totten Glacier. This is one I track. And see, it's still open all around the edges here. This is not refrozen. Yeah, so salt water freezes at a lower level, so that's why you can see the lower readings, and it's still open water because this is salt water. Look, this is open, and the ice doesn't come out very far at all, and there's just so much open water down here. Okay, here's this eastern edge. Here's the Amory ice shelf, see? And same thing here, see, it's open right up to the ice shelf, right around it, that edge there. Today. And here's the north end. And again, see, it's open right at the coast. I don't know why this is. If anyone has any ideas, you can leave it in the comments. So here's this Brunt ice shelf. So that's it. This is the Weddell Sea, and it you know, it looks like this is just way too thin. I mean, is this melting here? That's a lot of open water there. I don't know. Could be. So now we'll look at earthquakes. So we've got 222 around the world right now. Here's a new one, 5.4, Papua New Guinea. Now we've got one in Africa, just on the edge of the Red Sea, of 4.2. Eritrea, and these are in some unusual places. Here's one on the edge of the Persian Gulf, 4.0, southern Iran, and so on. Here's that 6.9 in Tonga, and let's go to all magnitudes for the last week. And we've got 2,152 here this week. And here's one in Russia. This was yesterday, just next to the Baikal Sea. 4.8. That was on the first, near Buryatia. I don't know if that's how you say it. Look at this cluster here near Afghanistan. Mainly force 5.0 was the largest. And Turkey came back to life this week. Look at this. 4.1. Croatia. Also, here was one in the UK. Now, we see them in the UK occasionally, but it's kind of off the beaten path for an earthquake. 2.7 near Cheadle, United Kingdom. Let's see what else. I don't remember seeing any other 6s this week. We had a lot of 5s. Here's one right at the north end of the Juan de Fuca plate, 4.0. Here's movement next to the Juan de Fuca plate, 2.5. 2.5, 2.9, 2.4, and then also at Petrolia and Ferndale, that's the fulcrum point there. Also, here in the Reno area is pretty active this week, but out here at Spanish Springs, there were 28 here within I think it was like a 2-day period. Yeah. The 25th. Oh, through the 1st, so something's going on there. That's kind of a mountainous area. Yeah, I mean, it's in between I-80 and Pyramid Lake. And then we had more movement here in the Cold Springs area, 12 here this week. So there's that. Lake Almanor, look at the movement's kind of spread out, moving further south, but here's some earthquakes in the lake, which is a man-made reservoir. We've got 11 here, and largest was a 3.2 in the lake. And what else? That's kind of it. Just more of the same. Oh, look, here's one in the Hudson Bay, Canada, 2.9. So there's that. That's my report for this week. I like to bring things back to a spiritual perspective, especially after looking at all of this climate chaos and irreversible abrupt climate collapse and things like that. So we're reading out of the book of Job, and Job endured all kinds of things, but he never turned his back on God. So here we are, Job chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge. Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors, when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and brake up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, Hitherto shalt thou come, but no further, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the dayspring to know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea? Or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Have the gates of death been opened unto thee? Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest it all. Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof, that thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof? And that thou shouldest know the paths to the house thereof? Knowest thou it because thou wast then born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou even the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? But what way is the light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided a watercourse for the overflowing of waters, or a way for the lightning of thunder, to cause it to rain on the earth where no man is, on the wilderness wherein there is no man, to satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth? Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew, out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season, or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Canst thou send lightnings, that they may go, and say unto thee, Here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the heart? Who can number the clouds in wisdom? Or who can stay the bottles of heaven? When the dust groweth into hardness, and the clods cleave fast together, wilt thou hunt the prey for the lion, or fill the appetite of the young lions? When they couch in their dens, and abide in the covert to lie in wait? Who provideth for the raven his food? When his young ones cry unto God, they wander for lack of meat. Job chapter 38. So God pointed out all of his creations, and who created all of those if God didn't? Where did it all come from? Is what God is saying. And so just more of his greatness and splendor is what we're seeing. And we're just a little drop here compared to the greatness of all creation. But if you give your life to Jesus Christ, you can know God, you can walk with him, walk with Jesus, be filled with the Holy Spirit, not be deceived, and be protected, and be saved, have eternal salvation for your soul. So, hope everyone has as good a week as possible, and Lord willing, I'll be back here next Sunday to give you another report. So God bless you. Go in peace. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Good night.